The bell chimes as students take their seats. The hollow board displays Galactic Social Studies Professor Mugon takes his position in front of the class at his podium today. We will continue our chapter on the human race and their nation, the Terran Collective, which we had just a few spare minutes to start on last lecture, as you might remember. Mugon clears their throat. Humanity was a beloved race. Yet, they measured very average scores for intelligence, military tactics, technological development, diplomacy practices, or any other metric that might ascend a species to superpower status on the galactic stage. The only metrics in which they physically stood out was their size, being 1.8 times that of the galactic average, which was reportedly intimidating to those who had never met a human before, especially for those races who faced predators on their homeworlds. Humans were, however, wonderfully social, philanthropic, and hilarious, and we all, us myriad of races, creeds, and civilizations of the galactic community, loved them for it. Humanity was one of the later races to be encountered by the Galactic Federation, with first contact occurring on Galactic Cycle 16348.13.3. The Federation, as we all know, was founded in Galactic Cycle 3142 by an initial 17 civilizations near the galactic core and had swelled to include over 600 species by the time the humans were encountered. The humans' home system, which is named what? Anyone? Mugon's podium's hollow display beeps. Arton? Please tell us. The Terran Collective's home system is known as Sol. Arton answers. Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Arton. The human home system of Sol is situated in a rather isolated galactic quadrant. You see, that quadrant has the lowest concentration of hyperspace conducts in the entire galaxy. That being so made the quadrant's hyperspace traffic density extremely low. This issue was not remedied until Galactic Cycle 16392, when the Clo-Et Dominion perfected a method of manually creating stable hyperspace conducts, which has become a vital technology to galactic civilization today. As such, to date, the Galactic Federation has over 800 member races. At the time of first contact, the Terran Collective was established on multiple planets in the Sol system. Their efforts at FTL travel thus far had proved futile. They did not have the technology to detect the naturally occurring hyperspace conducts, and so they had no idea that they existed. Somehow, by sheer luck, they had produced an FTL drive that would have functioned if used in a hyperspace conduct. Unfortunately, the nearest naturally occurring hyperspace conduct, known as the Cygnus Spur conduct, is roughly 200 light-years away from Sol. During first contact proceedings, we learned that their home planet of Terra is a Class M planet, but with a gravity factor 2.6 times greater than galactic average for Class M planets. The diplomatic team could hardly believe that a sentient species had not only evolved there, but was so large and had been passionate enough in spreading beyond their homeworld to spend the effort and resources to do so in such a thick atmosphere. In fact, in all the homeworlds of sentient species in the galaxy today, Terra holds the record for 7th highest gravity. It was initially feared by the Galactic Federation that inducting such a physically strong and passionate species would give birth to a terribly powerful and devastating expansionist empire. However, upon review of their history, humanity was issued quite an average hostility rating of 4.7 out of 10, well inside the defensive/advocate category. These fears were further quelled almost immediately after humanity received their translation matrix. Can anyone tell me what a translation matrix is and what it is first used for? The podium beeps. Yes, Quillet, please rise and tell us. A translation matrix is given to a species during first contact. It is a total translation of their language, sayings, and references with galactic common and can work in real time. The species. The species is asked to provide a statement that will be broadcast to every member species of the Galactic Federation as their first introduction. Quillet answered hesitantly. Yes, that is precisely correct. Well done. The human delegation's very first statement after receiving a translation matrix was what they would soon become loved for across the galaxy. A joke. Mugon brings up the hollow display. I will now play that first statement for you. Bleeps, sweeps, and creeps as Mugon taps at the controls title card. Galactic Federation Ministry of Social History. Galactic Federation Member Species A32984 Species. Human Home System. Sol Homeworld. Terra. Humanity's first statement. Galactic Cycle 16348. 52.3 translated to Galactic Common A video feed of a smiling diplomat in a suit, a very fond greeting to you all. What do you get when you cross an owl with a bungee cord? Two images quickly pop up of the referenced animal and item, with description my ace. The entire class erupts in laughter as the hollow display cuts out. Mugon wipes away a small tear as he chuckles, and the class quiets down after a couple minutes that will never get old. A chuckle across the class. So as you have now seen, humanity was quickly destined to become the loved people that they were. Within the next 100 galactic cycles, a human could be found at almost any bar or outpost across the Federation, usually in the middle of telling a joke or holding doors open for people. But beyond that, humans also quickly proved to be a very compassionate race. Just 20 galactic cycles after first contact were the events of the Anuri sect's tragic loss of their homeworld due to what they soon named the World Eater virus, which was released from the thawing of one of their ice caps from an ancient slumber and quickly eradicated all flora on their homeworld, making it uninhabitable for the herbivorous species the Anuri are. At the time, a human naval fleet was passing through the system on their way for uplift refitment at the Galactic Federation naval base in the sector. They were the first to respond and spent over 3 of their years helping evacuate the planet, resettle civilians, and secure cultural artifacts. Unfortunately, what was not known at the time is that the virus, while unable to infect the Anuri people and their fauna, had infected a human. Podium beeps yes. A question from Enria? Why didn't they do anything about it at the time? Enria asked, well, shrugging his shoulders and sighing. The infection went unnoticed. It presented no symptoms whatsoever, and initial medical evaluation had deemed the virus incompatible with humans. What we now know is that the virus mutated when exposed to a certain human delicacy. Can anyone tell me what food item I am referring to? It was the primary agricultural export of the Terran Collective, one which is still widespread throughout the Federation today. Podium beeps Arton again. Is it the Terran potato, used for French fries? Arton answers, unsure of himself. Yes, the humble potato. French fries were first exported by the Terran Collective just 3 galactic cycles after first contact, and their popularity spread like wildfire across the Federation. Through modern DNA lineage analysis, it was discovered that one of the human naval servicemen managed to ingest French fries containing mutated World Eater virus during their relief efforts for the Anuri. The mutated virus spliced itself into the very DNA of that human and lay dormant. Over the next roughly 1,000 galactic cycles, the virus spread through that human's offspring, maintaining a dormant state until galactic cycle 17402. Then, the virus woke up, and the result was truly tragic. My own great-grandfather was a doctor at one of the many treatment centers set up to try to cure and care for humans. But there was little that could be done. The virus had become encoded into the DNA of a few million humans during the population boom they experienced after first contact and their adoption of hyperspace travel. So it awakened in humans all over the Federation almost in unison and proved incurable and highly infectious in humans. Over the next 27 galactic cycles, every last known human had been infected in all. But roughly 30,000 had died. From a people sporting a population of 8.4 trillion at their peak. In galactic cycle 17429, a medication was finally developed for those remaining. However, the World Eater virus had left every last one sterile. The medication restored the dormancy of the virus, but despite the efforts of the greatest medical minds in the Federation, the virus could not be removed from the human genome, and it also somehow managed to make cloning impossible. The cause of which is still not understood to this day. Those 30,000 humans were suddenly the last of their kind, saved from immediate death, but doomed to fade into a collective war, not our. The entirety of the Federation was surprised then when those remaining humans largely did not, to quote one of their own sayings, go quietly into that good night. Most of them formed a coalition of sorts and traveled the Federation, providing aid to those that needed it, hosting stand-up comedy, volunteering, telling stories, and being the good friends they had always been. They made sure to spread every bit of their humor, history, colloquialisms and sayings, culinary recipes, and culture that they could think of. Those humans felt they had to live their lives for all of the ones that had been lost, and all the possible descendants that would now no longer be brought into life. They left an everlasting mark on the Federation. And so, by galactic cycle 17,600, there remained only 5 known humans in the universe. Podium beeps. Yes, and Ria, you have a question? Is that related to the 5 human android models? She asked. Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. As you all have probably seen in your day-to-day life, the only bipedal androids found across the Federation come in 5 models. On Galactic Cycle 17600.3.14, in honor of humanity, the Federation's Ministry of AI and Robotics issued a decree that all bipedal androids produced from that moment on were to be modeled after the 5 last humans. The duty of those androids are the very same professions that those 5 humans practiced in their lifetimes. Those models being the mechanic, bartender, emergency medical technician, vocal broadcast host, and line cook. You all have, of course, met Julia, the line cook android who works in the cafeteria. And most of you have probably heard the voice of Howard, the vocal broadcast host android who does the early morning human music program. Oh yeah, I listen to that program every morning on the transport, proclaimed Quillet. My mom gets her transport serviced at a station run by a Vinny mechanic android. He's hilarious, but he makes her nervous sometimes when he does that percussive maintenance thing. And Ria included. Yes, that is actually one of the other things humans were unique for. They had this strange ability to strike inoperable or malfunctioning machinery to restore functionality. An ability that the designers of the Vinny mechanic android had quite a bit of struggle coding in. They actually had to give that model of android a full bionic arm of synthetic human tissue and DG nerves, fed into a self-learning AI based on a human synaptic structure to get it to work. Professor, how can we know that there are no humans left? I mean, the galaxy is a big place. Arton asked. That's a good question. To date, there have not been any reports of anyone seeing a human since those last 5 died, roughly 1,300 galactic cycles ago. But I believe your father is part of a survey crew for the Federation's Ministry of Hyperspace Conduct Maintenance, right? Yeah, he is, Arton responded with a confused tone. Did you know that the secondary directive of those crews is to keep lookout for any human structures, vessels, or other signs of human activity? Has he ever spoken with you about that? No, he never told me, said Arton. You should ask him about it. Maybe he can. The period change bell sounded. Okay, class, that is all we have time for today. I want you all to read through the chapter up to this point in your holotabs tonight to review. And we will continue this next time. Later that evening, Arton is at home having dinner with his family. So, son, what happened in school today? We are going over the history of humans in galactic social studies. Arton said, his mouth full. You're covering that chapter. I remember doing the same in school when I was your age. It was my favorite chapter. Is that why you're a system surveyor? Arton chirped after swallowing. What do you mean? Well, I also learned today that the second duty of your job is to look for signs of humans? Arton clarified. Oh, yes it is. It's not why I chose the job. I just got tired of the navigation system in the transport constantly recalculating in hyperspace conducts. So I thought I could help improve the maps for the program. Laughter around the table, but I've never seen any sign of a human. If I did, well, that would probably make me one of the most famous surveyors of all time. Do you know what happened to the human homeworld, Terra? Asked Arton. Oh well, it was turned into a kind of monument and museum to the species. Did your professor not mention the field trip? What field trip? Arton responded excitedly. Well, at your school, traditionally your year takes a field trip to Terra at the end of the term. What? Really? Arton exclaimed.